Before the conversation, before the stories, there's a moment when the needle finds the groove and everything begins. This is Grooves and Embers. Welcome to the experience.
Welcome to the show, man.
Well, thanks for having me, Winston.
Man, I've been looking forward to this. You know, I don't. Maybe you know this. When I first thought about doing this podcast, the thought came about when I was on vacation in Japan last year, and when I returned to the States, I was going back and forth. Very private person, being in front of a microphone on YouTube, that's just not my thing. But this kept pulling at me. And you were the first person I told about this podcast.
Wow.
I don't know if you know that.
I feel honored.
Yeah. For some reason I said, man, let me run this by Lamar and see what he thinks about it. So I wouldn't be here today without the advice and guidance that you gave me. So I want to say thank you before we get started.
Right on. Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. All right, man. So, I want to start at the beginning. Not the business beginning, but the personal beginning, because I think every person who does what you do carries an origin story inside them. A first sound, a first moment where music stopped being something you heard, but something you felt. Right. Your mother, Shirley, who raised you alongside 3 siblings, how did she ensure music remained part of your life? Tell me about those seasons, the church choir, the handbell performances.
Well, in preparation for the show, you start reflecting, right?
Yeah.
So you think about what someone's going to ask, and inevitably the history of how you got into music, the thing that you love, the profession that you're doing comes up. Yeah. So it was a little emotional this week. I don't mind saying that, right? I think it was easy and cheap, right?
Okay.
Growing up just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, my brothers and I, we lived with my single mom, right? So she didn't have support from my father.
Yeah.
And she was always looking for something free, always, right? And there is nothing more free and giving in our society than music. You really find it everywhere.
Right.
Not as much in the social norms today, but if you remember the malls back from the 80s, every single weekend someone was performing, right? My mom, for better or for worse, would drop us off at the mall. She'd go to work.
Okay.
Right? Because somebody still had to put food on the table.
Yeah.
So we were exposed to music at all times. If we weren't at the mall, we were at one of our church events, and she insisted that we were part of the choir. And as an adult looking back, I know that was because she was looking for a babysitter, right? Yeah. Ultimately, she was looking for someone to watch my kids while I go make a living, right? And what makes my mother amazing is, in my mind, a superhero, is she never let us feel that poverty. We felt rich, right? And even now, when I tell my story, I feel sad for a lot of people who didn't have a colorful childhood, like a real beautiful childhood with all the ups and downs.
Right.
But when I thought about it, at every interval, music was involved, right? When we were at the church, we were singing. Even got the handbell. I can still do the handbell, right? G. Right.
Okay.
But I didn't even realize it until I really started reflecting this week that she was the most instrumental part of me doing what I'm doing now. When I was 30 years old, I wrote my mom a letter. It's a 12-page letter. And it was me expressing how proud I am of how she raised us, right? How full and how rich that is.
Right.
Because again, as I was about to mention, most people didn't have a colorful childhood. It was pretty boring. And when you think about children today, their childhoods are pretty boring. It's very linear. Not a lot of risk, not a lot of moments of, right? But we had nonstop moments of hold your breath, right? Wait to see what's going to happen next. I was 30 years old at a family reunion. Music was involved, right? We had some family members who played a band. And I was telling a story to, I'm a little emotional about this, as you can tell. I was telling a story to some of my cousins about this wonderful camping trip we did, this wonderful vacation we did. My older brother, who's older by about 6.5 years, he listens in and he leans in. He says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You don't remember when we were at Tuttle State Park and, man, we spent like 2 weeks there?" He says, "We weren't camping, we were homeless."
Oh, wow.
We didn't know it. And that's the superhero that my mom is, right? She played music in her Ford Maverick while we popped a tent using blankets and the car door was shut. Music all day and all night. And so that was her way of helping us cope.
Yeah.
And it took me 20 years to know that we were homeless.
Man, that's how you start off a show.
Yeah.
Wasn't wow. Yeah, when you say your mother Shirley was extraordinary, she truly was.
Yeah.
Right? I know that really hit you hard when your brother, told you, no, we weren't camping, right? But it's funny how when you're young, how you interpret situations, right? To your point, I think about, some of my earlier moments as a child and growing up with my siblings as well as cousins and all, and the things and gifts that we didn't get. Some of my friends had more things, the newest bicycle and all, but I never felt without. Right.
I think it helps for me right now to kind of put things into perspective. Why is the music different now than it was when we were growing up, and why was it different when we were growing up than when our parents were growing up? And I think that's a reflection of the struggle, right? Like, the best music, in my opinion, the best music is about real struggle.
Right.
Well, if you have a whole generation who hasn't had to struggle, right? Like, heck, we have auto-tune.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so anyone can sing.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I'm going there.
without struggle, I think the music is losing something, right? So when you hear something nowadays, I think I forwarded you one of my new favorite songs. It's not even new anymore, but when you hear something that that person struggled, you can hear it.
Right.
Like, you can hear it without hearing the lyrics. You don't have to hear what they say to hear what you feel, right? What they're making you feel,
right?
Because they're living that life, that story, in their vocals.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the big difference. To your point, parents' music, what we grew up on, our kids' music today, and I know we're older, and so what connects with us is different than what connects for someone that's 30 years younger than us, right?
Yeah.
But I do, if you think about the great albums or songs or artists, it was those artists that were able to tap into emotion.
That's
right?
it.
Like, you felt, you knew. I think about, and I mentioned this on an earlier episode, my dad's favorite artist was Marvin Gaye.
Right on.
Right? You can listen to Marvin and you feel the pain, right, that he was going through, the struggles that he was facing, his everyday challenges. I was young, right? I couldn't really connect with it, but I felt it. I knew it was something there.
Yeah.
And when I think about music and how it touches me, it's the song, the artist that can evoke some type of emotion out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're getting that today.
Yeah, no,
Right.
they're not.
Right?
Do you feel that your dad's music, Marvin Gaye, do you feel like it shaped who you are?
Yes, most definitely.
Knowing you
Yeah.
for the time that I've known you,
Yeah.
a few years now,
Yeah.
I feel like now that I know that,
Yeah.
it's probably what gave you your swagger.
I'll
You know what I
take
mean?
that.
Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
imprint,
Yeah.
it gives us something. It gives us
Right.
a level of confidence.
Yeah.
I think when I'm hearing you say, and I don't think I've articulated it before, so it may not come out correctly, but you heard what he was saying, not the words.
Right.
Right? Like,
Right.
it's one thing to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a whole nother thing that it was heard.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you can feel it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, again, that was my point. Like I wasn't, because I was so young, maybe I didn't understand every lyric. You know, I think about what's going on. You know, I think about sexual healing.
Yeah.
Right. You know, when that song came out, I was 8, 7, 8. You know, I didn't know
Right.
what that was, but it invoked something in me. Like I felt it even before I understood the lyrics. I felt the music, the sound, and all, and that's what good music will always do.
That's right.
Yeah. You know, we talked about your childhood and, you know, your mother exposing you and your siblings to music, and we just finished talking about the struggles and how we felt music, right? Or how we feel music. What are there any other earlier memories of music or sound that actually did something to you?
Yeah, my first love was breakdancing,
Okay.
right? So when you had something that just, because it was ours, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm 51, I'll be 52 in August. Breakdancing was ours.
Yeah.
And there was no lyrics usually, but it was ours. Our parents never had it. And generations after that had it, but they didn't have that. They didn't have that first emotional, like, what did he just do? Right? How can you do that?
Practicing for hours and hours.
And then coming up with your very own routine.
Right.
Yeah. I remember we were in a church camp, and our group had chosen that we're going to do a breakdance session, and no one else could breakdance, and I could breakdance. I could do it well, right? And I had these moves, and we did them beautifully, and we didn't win the talent contest. And everyone's convinced. You got to remember, this is my 9-10-year-old mind, right?
Okay.
Everyone's convinced that it was because they didn't understand what we were doing. We just performed an art form that no one had ever seen before, right?
Yeah.
And that's, at least that's what I tell myself, right?
Yeah, you probably was right.
Because I'm a winner, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't lose that.
Yeah.
It was rigged.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I asked you a question in our correspondence going backwards and forth, and I feel like it's an appropriate time to bring that up here, right? And I know you love the question because I know you've been thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you're asking me is a question that I have fallen in love with, and because everyone asks me, like, all the time, what's your favorite movie?
Right.
What's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
It's impossible, right?
Yeah.
It's more likely that you can say your favorite song,
Mm-hmm.
right? When someone says, what's your favorite song? I'm going to tell you the song that I want to hear right now to make me feel the way I want to feel.
Yeah.
But a question that I've been asking lately is, and I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
What song would you like to experience for the very first time all over again?
Wow.
Right? So think about that. Not your
Yeah.
favorite song.
Right.
But if you could go back at any point in time and hear that song, and that, I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see the goosebumps,
Yeah.
but I just
Yeah.
got goosebumps. Like, you know what you're doing, you know who you're around, you definitely know the song, and it made you, something inside of you just clicked. I'm still getting goosebumps because I'm thinking about my song, right? And it's not even a song I probably listened to in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I listened to it last night, of course, which is why those goosebumps are fresh.
Okay, before you tell me the song for you, I'm sitting here thinking, and you made a good point, because it's not necessarily your favorite song, right? My favorite song, for folks that know me, it's "Adore" by Prince. I love, the lyrics are unbelievable.
Amazing song.
But if it's a song that I can hear again for the first time, and I can recall where I was when I heard this song, it's a Prince song, "When Doves Cry."
Yeah.
And the first time I heard the song was the video, right? And I think about those words. At that time, my parents were splitting, right? They weren't divorced, but they were splitting up. And as a kid, your parents going through a divorce, and you're trying to figure out. I was the oldest sibling, trying to figure out how that was going to change my environment, right? And the disagreements that, I was older now, and you can tell when something's not right between your parents and all. It wasn't any, screaming. I didn't see any of that, but I can tell that something wasn't right. And in that song, "When Doves Cry," Prince talks about, maybe I'm just like my mother. Or maybe I'm just like my father. Right? And that resonated with me. When that bass guitar dropped in that song, I'm like you. The goosebumps now.
Yeah.
I can feel the goosebumps. But that was the song for me.
Yeah.
It'll be why that's so a perfect question, because I was 8, 9, 10 when that song came out, right? But now, sitting here as a 50-something-year-old, right? And
I like how you said 50-something.
Yeah.
You didn't put the end on it.
Yeah, a 50-something-year-old, just imagining hearing that song for the first time.
Yeah.
Not watching the video. I wouldn't want to watch the video. I would want to experience it, listening to the song over. That would be amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
Box it up, be the best-selling drug the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That drop you on a deserted island and you're going to listen to one song forever.
Yeah.
That's great, right?
Yeah, right.
But drop you on a deserted island and give me that emotional over and over and over, I'm good.
Right.
Make sure I got some water.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because
that's important.
I think that's what we are.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like human beings. I am not a music expert by any stretch. I am not a technology expert when it comes to specific aspects of listening rooms, right? I learned a long time ago, surround yourself with
people
smarter people, right?
Absolutely.
And I've got a lot of those amazing team members that are light years beyond me at the understanding of how this microphone works, right? But what I do think I'm an expert in is the human connection, right? Like that was, I'm gonna go back to my mom, right? That was something that she put into us. It was so important to be respectful. It was so important to be attentive and be there when especially when your elders were there, right?
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with opening the door.
Right.
You better be listening to your grandma.
Yes.
Right. And God forbid you break a whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if yours had the whatnots.
Yeah, I know.
Had the whatnots, right?
You're in trouble.
Almost like they were landmines intended.
Yeah.
They were placed throughout the house for you to break them, right?
Setting you up.
But I feel like I have mastered the edges, right? I don't think anyone's ever going to master what it means to be in the human connection, right? But I've mastered the edges of it. And I think it's part of why things are cycling back to vinyl. And I know this is a weird, like, it's not an intended segue.
Yeah.
But you had some, good questions that you kind of put and says, Lamar, I may ask you some of these.
Yeah.
And man, I hadn't studied that hard since I was in school. And my wife all week long, she's like, what are you reading? I'm like, I got to prepare. Right. And she's like, let's just listen to music. Right. That's how she would prepare anyway. Right. What do I love? But the human aspect of music left when the MP3 was invented. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I can't tell you a single time anyone has ever said, let me see your Zoom player. Y'all remember the Zoom, right? Microsoft Zoom. Yeah. No one has ever asked me, not one time, for my little iPod Nano. You remember when those first came out? Mm-hmm. But you bring someone into a room like this with a vinyl collection, or my generation's perfect music was the CD collection, right? Yeah. They're going to ask questions. They're going to connect with you in a way that is unpredictable. And I think like part of me really assessing what music is to me, I said, Lamar, what is perfect music to you? A concert. Going to a concert. Why? Because almost every concert that I've ever been to, the CD sounded better. Right. The record sounded better, right? Because it's intentional. It's produced and it's going over and over and over. So why would I say perfect music is originated at the concert? It's the people, right? It's the energy. It's all of that human connection. And I feel, with my naive mind, that's what records are doing for us. It's allowing us to, the slow down is obvious, right? Like we need to slow down, but it's the share, right? It's the look at this art. In the digital world, there's no sharing, right? It's not the same. Let me forward you this YouTube video, right? I forwarded you a couple of videos. It's not the same, but if I brought out my collection and I showed you the artwork, that's the one thing that vinyl had over all other mediums, right? Yeah. 8-track, you had this little box. It had some kind of graphics on it. CDs, little bitty square disc, kind of fold out, right? Especially if you got the ones that folded out real big, right? But you always had those wrinkles. Yeah. But the album and the artwork and the story, they had nothing to do with the songs, right? There was so much intention put into that. And to be able to share that with someone, provocative even, right? I remember the first time I saw Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Okay. To see the cover of that, you're mesmerized. It's amazing. To open that up and look at the interior, it was disturbing. Yeah. Right? As a young man, there's disturbing images in here. Borderline pornographic, right? But it depicted violence. Yeah. You can't get that from a YouTube video. Yeah. Like you get the video, but you don't get that emotional buildup that the artist was trying to convey. And like your record collection, that's what you got. And so I think that's why it's coming back. We want to connect. We need to connect. We got to touch.
Yeah. Man. No, you beat me to it. Man, you good. I think I shared with you just over the months, just discussing and about vinyls. I read an article that noted vinyl sales eclipsed $1 billion in sales for the first time in 40 years. Wow. And so when I read that article, I also was thinking, like, why? Yeah. I know I'm a collector of vinyl, but why are people now enamored with vinyl? And it's not even our age. Right. My son, his vinyl collection is amazing. I shared this on the earlier episode as well, that's how I started. I had a couple of Prince vinyls and all, and for me, it was more, Prince is my favorite artist. It's
Right.
more of a collection piece for me. But he started collecting vinyls, which led me to fall in love with
Right.
collecting. And to your point about, I'm reflecting on what you said. Like, the perfect music is experiencing a concert. I'm of the belief that if you want to know if an artist is great,
Yeah.
see them in concert,
That's it.
because you can't hide
Mm-mm.
at a concert, right? You don't have the digital mastering of being in the sound booth and that producer making you sound flawless at a concert. And that shows
Milli Vanilli tried.
they tried.
They
Yeah, they
tried.
tried, right? But even just not just the singer. I'm talking about the music, having a band. And one of my pet peeves going to a concert, if I go to your concert and it's like me opening up a CD and playing it and it sounds the same, I'm getting that same vibe in the concert, then that's not a good concert. Right? I want to hear something different. I want you to perform. I want to hear the flaws of your performance as well. I think it's beauty in the flaws of
Absolutely.
a performance, right? You don't have to be perfect and all. And so I think about that. And then you talked about just the evolution of how we take in music from the 8 tracks. I remember that vaguely. I know my father, first car that I recall, we had an 8 track in the car and stuff, right? And then going to tapes. And I think about like what was the beauty of tapes? I don't know. I think the only thing that was fun about tapes, I was able to record over.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you sitting,
little tab.
yeah, right, yeah. You sitting, I'm listening to the radio station, waiting for that Michael Jackson song to come on or whatever, that I can press record and record it, right? That was the fun. And you had to be, you had to sit quietly and wait for that perfect time to record. And then CDs really, I know I skipped over vinyls, but I'm gonna come right to vinyls. CDs really was our first opportunity to skip through.
Yep.
I don't have to listen to the whole album, because track 2 is really not for me, and I'm trying to get to, because I heard track 4 on the radio, and that's what I'm trying to get to, and it allowed us to do that with CDs. And then you think about the MP3, the screaming environment that we're in now. I guess the beauty of that is I can curate a playlist, right? And I can share it with people across the world, right? Yeah, I could record my CD, I can record my tape, but then I have to put in the mail and send that. Now I can get on Spotify, Apple Music, and create this playlist that means so much to me, and I can share that with millions of people across the world and all. And then I return to vinyl. Vinyl is that medium that it requires you to let the needle drop and sit with it.
Yep.
Right? Oftentimes, every Thursday for sure, I sit in this room, I light me a stogie, and I place one of those vinyls on the turntable, and I just let it go. And it's like coming off of a long week or getting ready to end a long week and just sitting with the music and all, not being rushed, because you can't rush.
Nope.
Right? And sitting there listening to it. To me, that's what I appreciate from vinyl. And lastly, it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
To your point, right? Now, and I don't know, I think this is a new thing past, decade or so, where vinyls, you have different colors and all.
Yep.
Like I realize I have a Kendrick Lamar album and I have 3 versions of it. It's like one of the versions is deluxe, but the other one is just the vinyl is different, right? And so that makes it's cool too,
right.
And I treat it like a piece of art. It's my, I love, as you know, I love artwork, but I love my vinyls, and to me, that's like my most precious, the most precious thing I own.
Right.
Is my vinyls.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's just, keeping it.
It is weird over the last few years that the number of requests that we get, because we do distributed house music.
Mm-hmm.
The request has gone up to about every 3rd project. The client is requesting that we integrate a turntable into the house system.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that for us, that's easy, right?
Yeah.
Not hard, not even expensive. But I won't lie to you and not admit that I always thought that was odd, right? Like, you got to go back over there and flip that thing, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, you have to tend to it. And that's the beauty of streaming music, right? So it isn't that streaming is bad, right? Like, there are some really high bit rate, and that's how streaming is measured, right? The quality of the source has more to do with the bit rate, right? Yeah. The highway, the bandwidth, if you will, than anything else. And you get darn near CD quality from a couple of these streamers. So when someone tells me that music is an important part of their project, what I immediately hear is accessing music to you has been historically cumbersome, right? Mm-hmm. It's not easy. Because I don't know of anyone who doesn't love some music. Yeah. And so what I have understood over the last 2 decades of interfacing with people and their playlist, right, it has to do with how easy it is. And that, you have to chalk it up to streaming. Yeah. Streaming has made, right, Alexa, right, Siri, all of those just voice prompts. Let me hear this song. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I do feel that unless you're dancing with everyone else in the room, right, that it is not a connection experience. Yeah. And the vinyl is. Yeah. To bring a friend in here and sit right here, like, I consider us friends. Right. 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 Like, I can physically see your passion, right? Your art collection. But it's even deeper than that, right? Like, art will show you one aspect of who Wenzel is. Mm-hmm. Give me your record collection. Give me your playlist. Yeah. And I'll probably tell you everything you need to know about Wenzel. Yeah. Right? Yeah. What he's gone through his whole life is articulated within your playlist. Yeah. Right?
I believe that. I'm just thinking about some of the songs. If I was to create a playlist and think about the arc of my life and my journey, what songs would be on that playlist? It's funny, like, it's not hard. Like, I'm thinking like 4 or 5 songs right now. I'm 4 or 5 songs deep into my playlist, right? And all.
What's the one you're embarrassed to say out loud? Like, the most embarrassing song that you love?
Oh, Spend the Night. I don't know if that's embarrassing, but Spend the Night, I guess why I think it's embarrassing, because that was I was in the 9th, 10th grade when Spend the Night by the Isley Brothers came out. And, old school, you get on the phone and three-way call, call your girlfriend and all. And I'm sitting there singing, Spend the Night, Spend the Night. Trevor's gonna have to cut this out, but no, we keep it in, Trevor. Yeah, we keep it in. But yeah, just singing that song that Ozzy, and I thought I was so damn cool singing that song too, right? But that's Spend the Night is the one. I could tell you what would be on my playlist that people who meet me for the first time, they're surprised. And I'll just talk about the group. My favorite group is Coldplay.
Right on. All right.
It's a funny story. I was with a coworker, Karen, I call her K-Dot, and we were in the DC area going to a customer site, and it was my first time meeting Karen. Well, I met her before, but our first time on a project together, and we meet down at the hotel lobby. I have a rental car, and we're headed to a customer site, and I turned on my Coldplay, and I could see her like looking at me. The hell?
Something doesn't matter.
Yeah. So later on, we have a mutual friend, and she reached out to him, and she was like, "What's up with this guy? I thought he was cool. Like I thought I was gonna hear some Public Enemy, some NWA, all that." He started playing Coldplay. Was he playing that because I was in the car, dog? And so he bust out laughing like, "No, dude, seriously loves Coldplay and all." And so my team makes fun of me. Every meeting that I do, I start off with Coldplay and all. And so for people that don't know me, and sometimes we assume that we know what people like and all. That would be the one that I think would throw some folks off. I'm big on, my cousin Johnny's episode 1, we talked about country music and all. And he couldn't share his favorite country artist at that time. So we'll get to that later. But my favorite country artist is a guy named Sturgill.
Okay.
And I absolutely love Sturgill. So again, you can see someone on the outside and think, oh, that person. But to your point, I give you a playlist. I think people will be surprised what ends up on my playlist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually part of my banter with my client when we're bringing them on. We talk about the relationship, and I tell them, hey, you're going to build this house. When you're finished, your builder's going to be gone in a year. Right, your plumber, you're never going to see him again, hopefully, right? Your electrician, you're never going to see him. But I'm going to be in your life forever. And then I'll lean in, I'll say, because I know what's on your playlist, right? And it goes into the amount of support that these nicer, higher end residential homes need for their technology, their music. But I don't think it's a coincidence that I've learned to use that, because it'll make someone blush immediately when they actually think I can see what's on their playlist. Right. So just to see that reaction. And I've been in the homes when the project's finished, and you have a Germantown soccer mom, right? And you're in there and you're listening to country, you're listening to Kenny Chesney, right? You got some of that. But right before you leave, 3 6 Mafia is the next song on the list, and it's just so like, all right.
Okay.
So I understand her reaction, because you're the Karen you said.
Yep. Karen.
I understand her reaction, because we do have these preconceived notions about what that person drives. Right. What kind of outfits do they wear? What kind of music do they live?
Right. Most definitely.
And so. Yeah, I totally get that. I don't mind. Like, everybody I know knows this about me. You know this about me. And I'm not ashamed. My absolute favorite, you know where I go. My favorite artist, the person that I don't care what song it is, I'm going to listen to it.
Yes, you are.
Is Miley Cyrus.
Right?
And I live in an industry where people absolutely are music purists, right? It's got to be Led Zeppelin. There's no way that he's not an Eagles fan. There's no way that, and I can name you 100 other better musicians, technically better musicians, but I'll throw in my little argument, but isn't winning the race what defines greatness?
Right.
And if the race of music is measured in dollar bills, I think Miley Cyrus is winning some races, right? I mean, you have to argue Taylor Swift is winning some races. Right. But man, I love to listen to Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
Funny
I knew that.
Funny truth. I own one album in my own personal collection. Just one. I don't even have a record player at home. I have a nice system set up at the office, so there's not a need to duplicate.
Very nice system.
Got a nice collection going on that one of our team members, Mark, had put together for us. But I own a record that my wife bought me for my birthday.
Okay.
Miley Cyrus Flowers, because I think it is, in my opinion, the perfect album. And I don't think there's a bad song on it.
Wow.
Because she makes me feel good about what's happening at the moment. And I'll promise you, I have no idea what she's saying.
Yeah.
So it has more to do with the music. It has more to do with her vocal sound. Mm-hmm. It is mesmerizing to me. There's a couple of other artists that do that.
Yeah.
But she does it above all others. I can walk in a busy store, a casino. My wife, she chuckles now. If I hear a Miley Cyrus song, I immediately look around. All right, yeah, that's my song. All right, we're gonna get lucky tonight.
All right.
Let's go gambling, right? And so much so that we had contemplated a few months ago about getting a new puppy. 51 years old. I have never owned a puppy in my life, and I thought I knew better than everyone else that this was going to be easy.
Yeah.
But what sold the puppy idea to me after we went and visited the dog that we were going to rescue, on the way home, my wife is beside me, and I said, well, what will we name this dog? And she's like, there's only one name. My wife named our dog Miley Cyrus.
It was hilarious. When you sent that text over to me and told me this, I was like, classic. I wouldn't have guessed that, but I should have guessed that was the name.
Yeah.
And all. That is awesome. You have to send me over. Did you send me a picture?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a picture. I'm going to give it to Trevor so we can put that up. And
I'm
give
the
him all
most proud dog dad there is.
Yeah.
I think she is the most beautiful young lady.
Yeah.
Now she's going through some teething something right now, so we grounded her last night. It lasted like 3 minutes of grounding. So you cannot ground the dog. Mm-hmm. It doesn't care what you say. We got home yesterday and she had chewed some cabinets in the kitchen. And so that's on us. We're learning how to be better parents, but it's been a trip so far. So now I get to say Miley Cyrus all the time. Yeah. Miley, no. Miley, come over here. Right? Please don't, Miley.
Yeah. All right, I don't want to miss out on this. You founded. You originally founded Miestro as Memphis Home Theater, and you do work throughout the Mid-South and all. What led you to that? What led you to, that day sitting in a room saying, I want to start my own business, and this is what I want to do? Like, when did you know that was the business for you?
So it's a little bit of a story, but I'll take you on a journey and I'll try and make it quick. Mm-hmm. I knew I was going to be in the business in some capacity a decade before I did.
Okay.
Right? I will never forget the experience. I'll never forget exactly where I was at. My wife and I and our friends weekly would play volleyball. A lot of times we would just rotate where it was at. This particular Saturday afternoon happened to be at my friend's house, Scott. And Scott he did pretty good with his work, so he was able to buy the band toys that you don't always see. And you got to remember, this is like 2001.
Okay.
Right? So home theaters, right, big music systems really weren't prevalent. They weren't, right? And so I went in, he says, I got to show you this. So you remember Circuit City?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, I love Circuit City. Scott sits me down and I'm looking at a 46-inch Trinitron TV, right?
Okay.
It wasn't HD. It was actually a European standard, like 576 interlaced, right? So, but it was still the best picture you'd ever seen. Right?
Yeah.
It was, and he had this surround sound system. It was all Sony. It was, I think, the Sony Dream system or Sony Dream something,
that.
right?
Yep.
And it wasn't price gouging, but it wasn't cheap, right? It was, it was modest. But I'd never been in someone's home that had a surround sound system. And he puts on, it's going to give me goosebumps when I think about it. He puts on the intro to Fast and the Furious, right? Now, again, Miley Cyrus is my favorite artist, but no, Fast and the Furious is not my favorite movie, right? But it's definitely the one that made the biggest impact. That nitrous scene at the beginning of that, when it's in full surround sound and everything's happening around you, I remember right then and there, I need to be in this. I was in telephony. I sold business to business. I'm good at it, lucrative, but still just corporate paperwork.
Right.
I went home that night and I looked, and to my amazement, the domain Memphis Home Theater was not taken. So I registered a domain in 2001 called Memphis Home Theater. And my wife was like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, one day I'm going to be involved. I have no idea. I'm going to be involved. Fast forward, like 2011. I had a life-changing event where I was leaving the hospital. And I looked over at my wife and I said, I do not want to die today knowing that I spent yesterday doing something I didn't love, right? Like, I know this is a music show, right? This is a fun show, right? But like, why would you do something that you just don't love?
Yeah.
And up until that point, I couldn't hear that. It was very corporate cloudy.
Right.
And so you just climbed the ladder. You did what you do to make more money each time. But what I loved was home theaters. I loved it. And at that point, probably about 5 years prior to that, I moonlighted and I installed home theaters for friends and family, some clients, right? And really what I was doing was feeding my own addiction. So I'd buy me a system. My personal theater went through 5 growth spurts. I'd buy a system. My wife would shake her head, like, why are we doing this? She knew I loved it, but she'd still shake her head because it's not cheap, right? And then I'd sell that system to someone else for just enough money for me to buy the next big one.
Yeah.
Then the next big one, then the next big one. And then when it was all over, you would come to my house on every Tuesday and you would watch movies because I had an amazing home cinema experience. Right. And this is just thousands upon thousands of hours of forums and research. And so there's no formal education into it. So I get home that night and I have told my wife that I am going to quit my job. It took like 2 years for us to really get over that statement.
Right.
I went to what would eventually become my competitor and I laid it out on the table. I just said, look, I want to be involved with what you do. I love what you do. I've been following you as a fanboy for a while. And I'm ready to make a leap. And he's like, I can't pay you what you're making. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I think the salary was like $30,000 a year.
Okay.
Plus commissions.
Yeah.
6-figure salary.
Right.
$30,000 a year, right? In an industry, I had no clue if I can actually make it work, right? Because now this is legitimizing it, right? Like, it's not moonlighting. This is not a passion project. This is put food on the table.
Yeah.
So as a result of that engagement with someone that I do respect, and honestly, I'd still be working with him, and I wouldn't have started my own company if it wasn't a philosophical difference in management philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I are kindred spirits.
Yeah.
We believe that people should be treated a certain way, right? And it really doesn't matter who the person is, what they're doing. Treat everyone this way.
Yeah.
Eventually, my wife said, "Honey, quit complaining about how other people treat their baby. Go make your own baby." She's giving me permission.
Shout out to Heather.
Yeah, right? Like, that's not something that you hear in a couple's conversation on a regular basis, right? Like, okay, honey, I see that you love this. I see that you're good at it. And I trust you enough to leave the comfort of someone else's payroll to go do this on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 2014. So I registered the domain Memphis Home Theater in 2001. I didn't apply it until 2014.
Okay.
And it wasn't supposed to be big. It was supposed to be me and my buddy. We wanted to wear shorts and flip-flops. We wanted to go play disc golf every day after work.
Yeah.
Because my life had changed.
Mm-hmm.
My music taste, because I want to make sure that there's a tie into this. After that moment, after leaving the hospital, Bob Marley. It's all I wanted to listen to, right? It was a tempo of life that I wanted, right? It nothing to do with Bob.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
No disrespect to Bob Marley fans. But it was a tempo in my life that I wanted, that I needed. I desperately needed.
Yeah.
And so we did that for a couple of years, and then it just grew. Like at one point we got up to 26 team members. We are in the CE Pro Top 100, and we have been for 6 years now. So that's our industry's top 100 integrators across the planet.
Wow.
Not just the country.
Not just the country, worldwide.
Right. So we are, we're very fortunate this year. We're number 56.
Okay.
All right. So we were always in the 70s and 80s, but we're still very proud. Right.
You in the 100.
I put those in the photos, right?
Yeah.
Like those are up in the walls at the showroom. But now we've learned a lot as well, right? Like what our business really should be. As much as I wanted to be everything for everyone, over the years we've decided, right? We made a conscious decision. We're going to be this for these, right? It's still a very large portfolio of offerings to a very large group of individuals, but the notion that you want to solve everyone's problems, there's not enough time in the day. And that's how we look at our work. We're solving problems. We are not engineers by degree, but we're engineers through life. And like I remember some of the problems in this room, right? The cigar smoke. Right? I remember the builder, great builder by the way, trim carpenter, amazing guy. Shout out to Chit Chat, because I know he's going to listen to this.
Johnny.
Johnny Williams, right? But I just remember thinking, no, we have to solve how we're going to circulate the smoke, right? Without losing the conditioned air. And so we just collaborated and we fixed it. And you've got a nice filter above this room that cleans the air, right? So it doesn't permeate the walls and the rest of the house.
Right.
That's nothing to do with AV, right? But it was a problem. And that's where I derive most of my happiness day to day now is problem solving. Doesn't matter how big or small.
I just remember in this room, just thinking about those conversations we had. We spent a lot of hours in this room trying to figure out what we were going to do. And I remember when we got right behind me, just a vinyl wall and stuff. I'm like, okay, the music, 'cause we have towel and how it's going to bounce and all. It's like, okay, we need something to soften the music, and you put that together. You and the team just did an amazing job. Just thinking about, you talked about that experience coming out of the hospital and saying, I don't want to continue to do something that I'm not passionate about, that I don't love. And that was where I was, not necessarily that I dislike what I do professionally, because I actually love it. I love the people that I work with and all, but being over in Japan for a month, and the culture over there, you don't have people that sit around and talk to you. They're not like Americans and stuff. You meet a friend at the bar and you just chop it up. You don't have that. So I had a lot of time just to sit.
Right.
And that's what hit me too. Like, yes, I still enjoy my job. It was like I was doing a checklist. Do I enjoy my job? Yeah. Do I enjoy the people I work with? Yes. But I'm still missing something.
Yeah.
And I thought about, what am I passionate about? And the two things that came to me is music and stogies.
Right on.
And that was the birth of Grooves and Embers and all. And I think more people need to tap into that passion, right? What you enjoy. I'm so grateful for this platform. Similar to you, I wouldn't want to leave this place not being able to enjoy, share the things that I have a passion for. Right? People ask me, why do you go to Cuba so much and all? And going over there with me and my cousins is probably, for the average person, may be boring, right? Because we do, Cigar Lounge opens at 10. They supposed to close like 5, 6 o'clock. They keep it open for us and all. And we sit in there and hours go by. We have our stogies, we have good music, and we have great conversation. And that's what this podcast is about as well. Again, tapping into the company and the business aspect of it. Can you think of a particular moment where you build out an environment for your customer? Maybe it was a music room, or maybe it was the home theater, and you didn't get the response that you were looking for initially. It wasn't that outwardly response, wow, amazing, but you could tell that what you've provided the customer, it hit the mark, right? They didn't have to say it out loud, but you can see it. You can see the goosebumps, right? And think to yourself like, yeah, I did it. Can you reflect on, is it a customer or a project that, maybe it's a recent project, hell, maybe it's my project, right? Because I know I had some of those reactions and all, like looking upstairs like, man, okay, having these different TVs, right? Thank you, Lamar. Like, I didn't see the vision, but this is awesome. Do you get that a lot?
We do. And so I was smiling whenever you were finishing the question, because what popped into my mind is probably not what you're going to expect to hear. This was early days, like 9 years ago. We did a home in a beautiful neighborhood. Matter of fact, my favorite neighborhood in this region. And I remember, because you'll never forget this experience, we finished the project. One of the first large format TVs that ever hit the market. So didn't want a projector. The room was very challenging from a light aspect control, and the layout was weird. We made some custom speakers because we knew everything had to be perfect. And it didn't have to be perfect for the client who is instructing on the scope of work, but it did have to be perfect for the spouse.
Yeah.
And the emotional reaction that we were exposed to was not one that I ever want to repeat. I remember this conflict between the husband and the wife about the use of the room, right? And we had paid attention to every single detail. Like, the speakers were very expensive, but they were fully hidden. Yeah. The TV was meticulously recessed into a niche. Every single attention to detail. There was one small thing that their sheetrock guy didn't do correctly, because we mudded these speakers in. It was a very purpose-built speaker. So not on us, but still a reflection of us. And he got berated, like, in front of us. Me and my team members, we're sitting there and we watched this grown man cry, right? And so I know it wasn't what you were expecting, but that's the first thing that popped into my head is, we get it. We get everything, because what we do is so intimate. It's so involved. I would say next to the builder and the interior designer, the architect, right? We all live in that same ecosystem. We get to see it all. But I will answer it with a positive. So I went from this guy crying to I can't even count how many tears we've seen of joy and happiness.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to surprise the kids with a big screen, right? It is. It's harder today, but if you go back in time when I first started this, if someone walked in the room and there's a 150-inch screen, didn't even matter the quality, they loved it.
You're right.
Right? This is something that their friends don't have, and just the joy, the sheer joy. I would put on The Incredibles or some other Toy Story, right? Some other kind of perfect content, safe, friendly demonstration environment, and the whole family lights up.
Yeah.
But when you do a specialty room for someone, typically it's of means, they've been thinking about this room their whole life, right? Like, you've been thinking about this room in some capacity your whole life. Not the shape of the room, not even this neighborhood, right?
Right.
But that music, this thing that you're doing, you've been thinking about it. You've been planning this your whole life.
Yeah.
It's your story. So to be able to take that and help unfold that for a client is very emotional. So I have had demos where people have stood up and clapped when the demo was finished. That happens a lot, actually. I have had demos where people will sit there and cry because the emotion of what they're seeing or what they're hearing is part of their journey. It's why they wanted to try and recreate the listening room or the cinema experience. And for some reason, it just happens to be those high net worth individuals. And I think it's because they don't slow down very much at all.
Yeah.
So when you get them to slow down, my favorite, and this is not a plug for Lee and Miss Catherine over at Steinway Lingdorf, but you happen to be using their products, right? Catherine, as one of my favorite manufacturers rep, she helped me understand not the how to sell, but the why the sell happens at the high net worth level. I mean, this is a person who gets to spend most of their days on a yacht solving audio problems for people's yachts, right? So she has a very high-end client base. And she says, Lamar, I want you to think about it like this. She said, you go to the doctor tomorrow and your doctor tells you have some rare condition that will only allow you to have one glass of alcohol a year. Just one. So for you, maybe it's one cigar a year.
Yeah.
She said, do you drink bourbon? I was like, yeah. She said, is that glass going to be Jack Daniels? And I said,
absolutely not.
It's not.
Yeah.
So she put into perspective, she says, that's your client's time, right? They may only get one session a year in that listening room or one movie a year in that theater experience. So it has to be emotional for them, right? Every time they're in it, right? It has to work, but also has to move them. And what we found is there's not a high budget cap for someone who is chasing that, right?
Yeah.
To carve out that moment, to slow down enough, to have that cigar, to have that glass of bourbon or that glass of wine, is more about the slow down than the quality itself.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to get you out of here, but I'm not going to let you leave until you answer the question that you asked me and that I'm going to ask every guest from this day forward. What's that song?
Oh, wow. So, again, it was easy because when I was just telling you about, when I asked you the question, I got goosebumps. Yeah. It is a heavy metal band from England called Iron Maiden, and they have a song called Run to the Hills.
Yeah.
There is the lyrics are really what changed music for me. I'd never heard a song take two sides in the same song. Yeah. Right? So I don't know if you've ever heard the song or not. But the intro is from the Native Americans' perspective, right? And then the second part of the song is from the invaders, right? The colonization of America. Yeah. And it was profound, but the music itself, the tempo, the beat, the everything, it made you feel that. I just remember this song come out in like early 80s. So I wasn't exposed to it when it first came out. I was exposed to it whenever I found I had a propensity for heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I wanted some, like just something that made me feel. And as a young preteen boy, right, rap can do so much.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I say that, the fat boys can only do so much, right? I moved into heavy metal, and when I first heard that song, no other song after that was ever evaluated the same way, right? Like nothing, and again, more goosebumps. No other song will ever be the same after you listen to that song that did it for you, right? Because now you know what you should be listening for, because not to be crass, but I feel like it's the same thing that maybe a drug addict is looking for, like that same rush again. So you're looking for that experience. And you can only have one of those. Right. And so I listened to the song again last night, and it had been easily 2 years since I listened to it.
Yeah.
Same emotion.
Yeah, right? It's like Groundhog Day. Just waking up, and what is that song? If you was going through your Groundhog Day that you would like to hear for the first time over and over and over again.
That's it.
Man, I love it. Yep. So what we've learned today is, if we're honest, is that format was never about the technology. It was never about the bits or the grooves of the tape, the hiss, the skip-proof promise of a disc. The format is about the relationship.
Yeah.
It is the contract between a piece of music and the person who chooses to let it in. And like any relationship, the terms matter. How much of yourself you bring to it, how much stillness you're willing to offer, whether you're there for the whole thing or just parts of the music. The format changes, the music moves through all of them. But what we were always looking for in every medium across every decade was the same thing, the feeling.
That's right.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Man, this has been awesome.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you tap in with us. It's all about good music, great conversation, and that one smooth burn. You can find us on YouTube, social media, TikTok, Instagram, and listen to us on Spotify as well.